What is going on, dudes? This is VaporTheGamer, and welcome back to another episode of Vapor Reacts. So this is gonna be a long one because we have another FNAF game theory to react to. Are you freaking kidding me? But before we get into that, I want to announce the winner of the Nerdy Tech Couchmaster Psycon. So I did a video a while back, maybe just over a week ago now, playing Five Nights at Freddy's 4 in my bed with the Couchmaster, and it was absolutely amazing. It was so comfortable. Aside from me wearing pants, I don't know why the heck I was wearing pants because I was sweating so much. It's a pretty cool product, and Nerdy Tech was nice enough to send out another one to a special winner for a giveaway. So I had you guys comment hashtag Bedmaster, and at the end of the week I was gonna randomly select one of you guys to get one of these Couchmaster Psycons, and that winner is Black Wolf Yang. I'll put the comment right here. Congratulations. Okay, so what I want you to do is to message me on Discord. Link is in the description of every video. You can head over to my Discord. Just send me a message and we'll get your credentials so I can send them over to Nerdy Tech so they could send you a Psycon. Alright, without further ado, guys, I'm just gonna get right into this reaction video. It is titled FNAF The Secret Crimes of 1985. Where the heck was there a 1985? I've never heard in the FNAF series something about 1985, but we're about to find that out. Everything will be in the link in the description down below so you can check everything out for yourself along with the Game Theorists channel. Please go subscribe if you haven't. Without further ado, guys, I'm gonna click play on this video. And 3, 2, 1. Boom.
Race you to the ball pit?
Hey, that's no fair. I haven't
The
got
ball
my shoes
pit!
off yet.
The ball pit shark? And that name is Freddy
Made it.
Fazbear.
Ozzy? 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 Ozzy!
Oh, this is
Hello,
definitely
Internet.
about the books, isn't
Welcome
it?
to Game Theory, and the start to what
I forgot that those just got
undoubtedly be
released.
a
Some of
very
them did.
FNAF-y
Like,
new year
one of them did.
because while everyone else
Just
in the games
after
industry
Christmas
is
or something?
concentrated on new consoles with
Micro
all of
Sony?
the teraflops and none of the actual games. Five Nights at Freddy's is over here in the corner doing its own thing and releasing, you know, exciting and interesting stuff. Last year's Help Wanted was a fantastic addition to the series, which keeps updating itself.
Amazing
with new and
game. I love
exciting
it so
lore
much.
all the time. There's that new 80s inspired game coming out later this year. The AR game is
The AR
something
game
I
was
should
okay.
probably
It was
talk
pretty
about at
decent.
some point, since apparently that also has lore implications. And most interestingly of all,
It
we
does.
have ourselves the rollout of a new book series, Fazbear
I
Frights.
knew it.
The first one released after Christmas, and before the end of this
Into
year,
the
there'll be
pit.
a total of, let me check my notes. Holy mother of Ennard, 5 installments in a new book series in a year?
In 1 year, dude!
Looks like Scott's gone back to his roots of just mass releasing stuff. It's like he saw the Netflix model of binge watching a show and was like, I want that, but for video games and apparently books. Jeez, if only
So
mass drop
much going
lore
on.
reveals for us to binge understand, we'd all be happier for it. Anyway,
Yeah,
the reason
I
I
have-
call these books out is that first off, they're just
Look at me
really
like
good.
that.
You ever read the Goosebumps
I still
books?
have yet to read the
I
original
definitely did.
series.
Every
Oh, Goosebumps?
single one.
Heck
Night
yeah.
of the Living Dummy and Ghost Next Door.
I watched the
every
shows
day,
more than read the
fam.
books, though.
Fazbear Frights is
I
just
must
a
say.
modern version of those, with each book containing 3 short horror stories, all set within
gotta
the FNAF
listen to
universe.
those.
And true to them being
Because
a
you
part of
can
the
get them on Audible
franchise,
as well.
they aren't afraid to get super bleak. Today's episode is going to go into detail for the first 3, so if you want to read them blind, consider this your spoiler warning.
I'll forget
Anyway, to
about
give you
this
a sense of
anyway. I
tone,
still gotta
one
read the other
story
ones,
ends
so
with
I mean-
a girl finding her severed body parts hidden away in plastic bags, only to
Eh.
then realize that she herself has been piece by piece replaced with a robotic body. In another, a teenage girl's imprisoned and forced to choose the way in which she is gonna die.
that sounds
with
like-
options ranging from boiling alive to electrocution to decapitation. She
Oh.
chooses the decap attack. Dear FNAF tubers,
Yeah.
I know we were all
You
super
serious?
worried about Kappa coming in and striking us down, but when we're covering stories like these, I think we're pretty darn safe. But of course,
Yeah,
I wouldn't be
we're
talking about
fine.
all this
It's
on
all
Game
good.
Theory if it wasn't for the lore. These aren't just random horror stories. Each one is connected back to characters and locations that we know from the original games. The girl who makes a wish to be beautiful and then is unknowingly hacked to pieces? Well, the fairy
Huh?
godmother doing the hacking is a red pigtailed clown robot with green eyes. Does that description sound familiar to anyone? What about the girl who opts for decapitation? Well, I mentioned that she's imprisoned. What I left out was that she's actually trapped in the stomach of a white and pink bear with a twisted sense of humor and a thirst for blood. And if all that's too subtle for you, well, the first story outright has a guy in a golden bunny suit taking us to see 6 murdered kids in the back of a Freddy's Pizzeria in the year 1985. Pretty darn
Amazing.
direct, but
Yeah, what's
more on that later.
1985
These
though?
stories matter because they're giving us more more information about how the FNAF universe operates, sometimes in very direct ways, like giving us the exact number of murder victims and the dates of their death, and sometimes in more indirect ways, by showing us that this is a canon where a girl can be rebuilt day by day, piece by piece as a human-robot hybrid so realistic that no one, not even herself, realizes it.
Michael
and so
Afton?
that is what we're covering today. What
Canon
these
to the
stories
games.
show us about the FNAF universe, what they confirm, and also what important new
Sparky.
details they unlock.
Apparently he's canon
Plus,
now.
they open up a big
So these
theory
books.
about the games, one that I actually got wrong late last year.
Yeah, we need
and
to
I'm
know
very
about
excited
Vanny
about
and the
now.
glitch
So with all
trap.
that
We need to
said,
know more.
Reader beware, you're in for a scare.
Oh, don't
And for
take
those of you who've dismissed the
Goosebump
stories as
references and
non-canon, I
whatnot.
wouldn't be too quick to judge these books. Each one of them has this in its official description. Quote, in this volume, horror master Scott Cawthon spins 3 sinister novella-length stories from different corners of his series' canon. End quote. Different corners of the canon, you say? Sounds to me like some stories are going to be more aligned with the trilogy of books, some more so with the canon of the games,
How
but
do we
still,
know?
all of them existing within the canon itself. So absolutely worth our time.
So
to
freaking
invest in.
confused in this
First
whole thing,
story
man.
actually has a lot to cover, so I'm gonna just save that one for last and instead start with the second.
Okay,
In
yeah.
it,
Why?
Sarah,
What?
a 14-year-old girl, rescues a red pig-tailed clown animatronic from the trunk of a car that she finds in a scrapyard. Grateful to be
Scrap
saved,
baby.
the robot, who calls herself Eleanor, but is probably better described as Giraffe Baby based on the cut illustrations from the book, says that she'll grant any wish. Sarah wishes to be beautiful, and Baby, like a twisted fairy
You're still young,
godmother,
you don't know
makes
if you
it
will be
happen,
beautiful
by
or
putting
not.
Sarah to sleep every night and hacking
Jeez.
off sections of her body while she's unconscious, replacing them with robotic junk. Quote, Sarah looked at the floor.
Ugh.
One bag contained a human leg, another
Imagine
human
seeing all
arm.
of that.
Blood pooled in the bottoms
Traumatizing.
of the bags, but the limbs had been severed neatly, as if in a surgical amputation. Another bag, stuffed with bloody snake-like entrails and what appeared to be a liver, slid from the cabinet's shelf and landed on the floor with a wet splat. Hey, if pizzerias never work out for you, baby, Beverly Hills plastic surgeon is a great backup career. The only stipulation is that
Like
Sarah
Grey's
must wear a
Anatomy or
special
something.
necklace to keep the illusion alive. When the necklace inevitably falls off, Sarah's new junk body is exposed and falls apart. She dies, surrounded by her own severed body parts as she's forced to watch Baby walk out into the world having stolen her old look and identity. Quote,
How?
"Make
She
your
doesn't
wish
look
come
anything
true,
like her,
Sarah."
though.
And in return, Eleanor laughed again. She jerked and shook, her silver finish turning the pinkish shade of Caucasian skin. In a matter of moments, she was a dead ringer for Sarah. Well, you certainly made my wishes come true. Great story to read to the kids at night, by the way. Good night, sleep tight, don't let the shape-shifting robot slice off your face and steal it. Anyway, as I mentioned before,
Shape-shifting
Sarah's
robots.
extreme makeover
Come,
confirms
what
that in the
in
FNAF
the
canon,
world?
humans can be partly or fully robotic without ever knowing it. We've seen it before in the original trilogy of books, where the fourth closet revealed that protagonist Charlie was a highly advanced robot, and we're seeing it again happen here. A normal human Sarah
It's a
unknowingly
connection
being
somehow here.
remade into a robot. The fact that this is now a recurring element of the series goes to support the idea that Michael, the crying child of FNAF 4, after getting bitten, could have been put back together in a much more literal way than any of us were expecting all
we
those
knew
years
this
ago.
already.
He was put together as a machine. He
Yeah.
grew up without knowing it and was only able to figure it all out once he miraculously survived being scooped at the end of Sister Location.
Something is wrong with me. I should be dead, but I'm not.
Does this little short story outright confirm any of it? No, certainly not, but third time is a charm, Michael. The third story about a girl named Millie trapped inside Funtime Freddy's stomach doesn't really tell us a whole lot, but instead it just confirms what we already suspected, that the Funtime robots were designed to be large enough to capture kids and either kill them off or transport them to underground testing facilities. Moving on to the end of the book, there's a little teaser, like a Marvel movie but with 100% less Nick Fury, where we get a preview of a seemingly new monster. Two cops are discussing a hooded figure raiding the neighborhood's dumpsters. They call it the Stitchwraith. Quote, the Stitchwraith, witnesses said, was a shrouded figure in some sort of cloak. The detective squinted at a picture that showed the figure pulling what seemed to be a mannequin's torso from the dumpster. The face wasn't a face. Not a human face, anyway. It looked more like a mask. The face was round, and its features were drawn onto the curved white surface. It had dark eyes, one of which looked blackened. Were those bloodstains around the mouth, end quote. To me, the Stitchwraith is just a cooler
eating
name for
things?
Ennard. I mean, you got yourself a creature that has a white mask with a missing blacked out eye, sharp, potentially bloody teeth, and a lurching walk. Definitely similar to the way that he's shown in the games. Ennard's obsession with trash would also be appropriate for the Stitchwraith. I mean, it's just a mass of wires. It needs
making
something like a
more of
mannequin
them or
torso to give
something?
it form.
That
we actually
too.
see the same thing with Scrap Baby's design from
put them
FNAF
all back
6.
together.
Between games, she clearly assimilated any and all garbage into her form to be more passable and human. To me, I gotta be honest, I just think this Stitchwraith story is cool because it shows the outside world's reaction to the Freddy creatures that we all know. It starts to show what happened to them after the events of the game. It connects the dots for the story after the credits finished rolling. To know that Ennard, after he escapes from Sister Location, to the in-universe people going about their daily lives is just this urban legend named the Stitchwraith, I guess that's
like a
just pretty
frickin'
interesting
Jedi
to
Master.
me. I think it's fun. Anyway, it's also worth noting here that the teaser attributes 5 dead bodies to Ennard. Quote, 5 withered bodies with eyes that bled black down the sides of the face, end quote. So it appears that Ennard, after leaving Michael's body, tried to skin suit 5 or so other people. Notice that it says withered bodies. These are bodies that have clearly decayed, just like we saw with Michael's at the end of Sister Location. And the mode of death, them crying black, it's just the body leaking oil as Ennard needs to go and find another skin suit to possess. So that's pretty much everything else. But what I really want to focus on now and in a follow-up mini-theory is the first story of this bunch. The story where the book gets its name, Into the Pit. In it, a video game-loving, anime-obsessed 10-year-old boy named Oswald is forced to spend most of his summer in an old, run-down restaurant named Jeff's Pizza. One day, wanting to pull a prank on his father, he finds himself in a, wait for this, time-traveling ball pit that takes him to 1985, the day where 6 murders have just happened at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Quote, when the smell of pizza hit Oswald's nose, he understood. He was still in Jeff's Pizza, or more accurately, what Jeff's Pizza had been before Jeff took over. The ball pit was new and not roped off. On the wall was a mural of the same characters performing on stage, the brown bear, the blue rabbit, and the bird girl. Below their faces were the words Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. He even caught sight of a calendar hanging in an open office that helped him pinpoint the date, 1985. Way to take the mystery out of it there, guys. I was all ready to cross-reference all the arcade cabinets that you saw in the pizzeria and the allusions to the Smurfs and other popular media at the time to find the date, but you just had to go and take that all away from me. Thanks for saving me the research, I guess, but no thanks for taking away my deserving YouTube watch minute. And here's the first big mind blow of this book series. First, because I think they're actually
we must have the watch minutes.
Story. In this story, we
what
get
pays
ourselves
us.
clear, indisputable evidence that in 1985, 6 kids were killed. Quote, the rabbit stopped in front of a door with a sign reading party room. Half a dozen kids, none of them older than Oswald, their lifeless bodies propped into sitting positions, their legs stretched out in front of them. They were all wearing Freddy Fazbear birthday party hats. Oswald couldn't tell how they died, but he knew the rabbit was responsible
The Happiest
for it,
Day
that
minigame?
the rabbit had wanted him to see his handiwork. On one hand, it's incredible to finally get ourselves a date and a firm number of dead children. But get ready to change your Facebook status because it is complicated.
Dude, I've been there already. I haven't really
never
figured it all
been
out
an
yet.
important date in the series. 1983? Absolutely, that's FNAF 4. 1987? You betcha, that's FNAF 2. We've got ourselves 80s representation everywhere. Mullets and oingo boingo for days, but never, not once has there ever been a mention of 1985. And while it might be easy to immediately write that off as a typo or some non-canon event, it's definitely not. Far from it. In fact, for as wacko as it seems, this time-traveling ball pit from a short story and a spin-off series of books takes Oswald back to a pizzeria that we've never seen before, but one that we have absolutely known to have existed since the second game in this series. As proof, let me pull up a clip from my second ever episode on FNAF, back when Purple Guy was actually Phone Guy.
Dude.
Oh, those were the days. Every way to Sunday,
I miss
this
those
game
ones.
is a prequel. Posters everywhere in Five Nights 2 welcome you to this new location, implying that there was another Freddy Fazbear's Pizza somewhere before this one. Additionally, the Phone Guy makes reference to it on night 1, mentioning the old location and how it was left to rot. So let me recap. There's the restaurant from the first game, which is the last in the timeline. The one that you're currently working at in 1987 in Five Nights 2, an older location of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria left to rot, and the original Fredbear's Diner. In FNAF 2, we're presented with newspaper clippings that outright says that this location is having a grand reopening.
Yeah,
but we knew,
true.
even way back then,
Reopening.
5 years ago, that the events of FNAF 1 took place after FNAF 2. It was a prequel sequel, so there had to have been a Freddy Fazbear's Pizza that existed prior to FNAF 2 that got the franchise shut down in the first place.
That would be
we
a
also know that it
fantastic
wasn't
game.
Fredbear's Family Diner because Phone Guy calls that restaurant out separately.
Hello and welcome to your new summer job at the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. We're going to try to contact the original restaurant owner. I think the name of the place was Fredbear's Family Diner or something like that.
So in this
Yeah,
one
see,
random
that
little scene
lets
from
you know
Fazbear
that it
Frights,
definitely
we
was a
uncover
prequel.
pivotal piece of the timeline that's been missing for the last 5 years. A mystery pizzeria that's been gone since the very beginning of this franchise. A pizzeria that looks to be home to the first 6 actual murders of the Fazbear story. In fact, I can actually do you one better. I believe this to be the 6 dead kids that we end up reuniting in the Happiest Day minigame from FNAF 3. Notice that detail about all of them wearing party hats. These were kids all taken
They're all
from
wearing
the same
masks.
party. And the Happiest Day minigame from FNAF 3 has us reuniting them to finally finish the birthday party that got prematurely and gruesomely cut short. This is huge information here, guys! However, true to form, as it always is with this story, not everything lines up. With this being chronologically
It never
the
has,
earliest
man.
set of murders that we see at a pizzeria set before 1987, then we should be seeing the animatronics get possessed here. It's something that we've never actually seen in the games. This
That would be
should
freaking
the
sweet,
missing
though. That's
children's incident,
what
where
I
the
want.
victims' bodies are shoved into the suits, never to be found. But it's clearly not. The book makes it very obvious that these bodies were clearly out and visible. Quote again, there were noises, but not the usual ones of Freddy Fazbear's. Screams, crying children, yells for help, chaos. Oswald's stomach in knots, he moved through the crowd, past crying mothers running with their toddlers in their arms, past dads grasping children's hands and leading them swiftly towards the exit, their faces masks of shock. End quote. The bunny had laid out all his victims for everyone to see. A far cry from the bodies being shoved into the suits and then not being discovered for years on end. Hence, the missing children's incident. And we know that the missing children's incident is most likely where the animatronics got possessed because, you know, their bodies are in the suits, along with the metal. And so the metal and the souls fuse together to create living animatronics. Roll into FNAF 2 1987. Oh my gosh, look, there's living animatronics roaming around this pizzeria. Oh, and we installed security devices just because we know a murderer came around the last time. There's a reason I stopped talking about the timeline of these things. Additionally, there are 6 children dead, when the missing children's incident only had itself 5. That, in and of itself, would be okay, right? Since FNAF 6, 6 children has always been the magic number. It's weird to mention a magic number when talking about murdered children, but you know what? This series desensitizes you to a lot. Our
little
list
bit.
is Susie,
Yeah, a little
Fritz,
bit.
Gabriel,
It's
Jeremy,
still weird,
Cassidy,
gross.
and Charlotte. The core 4 animatronics, Golden Freddy, and the puppet. 6. The problem is, Charlotte the puppet always seems to have a separate death outside of the building, outside of the realm of the other 5 children. So having her suddenly lined up with all the rest of the kids at the same time just doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. I don't know, maybe I just need to think on it more because everything else lines up. We have ourselves a golden bunny leading kids down a hallway into a back room, just like those original newspaper clippings described. He's also very clearly visible, which means he'd likely be taken into custody. Again, just like those original newspaper clippings describe. As it always is with the series, so many items line up, but there's just 1 or 2 little details, little sticking
Make it
points
weird.
that the pieces fit a little awkwardly.
Yeah.
I honestly think, though, that this isn't the last time that we're going to be seeing this pizzeria. Remember earlier
Chef's
when I mentioned
Pizza.
that new FNAF game that's coming out in 2020, a little bit later this year,
Yeah.
probably titled Into Madness? Well, that one is set in a mall with a very 80s theme.
We can
Again,
be
we've been
time
talking
traveling,
about
though?
animatronics
That'd be
for a couple
fantastic. It'd be
episodes
so
now, and that's
sick.
the one where they get revealed. It wouldn't be surprising for me to see that game be the one where we finally step foot inside the first ever Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria and witness all the events that Oswald just saw for ourselves. So there you have it, my friends, the first major and a couple of minor reveals that this installment had in store for us. However, there is one final mystery that this story might help us solve.
What's
Not
that?
only does it give us a new set of murders to think about, crimes that are now chronologically the earliest that we see in the timeline, but also Into the Pit may just be giving us the identity of the person behind all of this. I don't mean behind the child murders. I mean the mystery of the man behind the games. What do I mean by that? And what evidence do I have to prove it? Well, that, my friends, is a theory unto itself for next week. So in the meantime, subscribe, ring the bell,
serious?
and most importantly, remember,
Another one!
it's all just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for sticking around to the end. I know these FNAF episodes tend to dive pretty deep sometimes, but
I don't
even
even
after
know
all
what's
the
going
games and
on.
books and shades of purple, I gotta say I still find them fun. That said, if
I
this
guess
episode
so.
leaves you wanting more, well, you can always dive into the books themselves with
I
the help
need to.
of today's sponsor, Audible.com.
Oh
Because Audible
my
is an
God.
audiobook service you can literally
I'm sorry, I have to stop it there. You know how many freaking ads I've seen for Audible and how many ads I've seen of him talking about Five Nights at Freddy's books in Audible? I'm over that. But dude, that was confusing as hell. So now we're time traveling? Like what? So Oswald is the first person, aside from the actual events, to see what happened in the very first FNAF location. Like the very first, the one that happened in 1985. Not the diner, 1985. So dudes, that would be cool. That would be sweet for the new 2020 game. If that's like, if we're going back in time to 1985 and that's where everything took place in the first place. Oh my God, you know what? You know what? Maybe I am excited for next week's FNAF theory, even though we've had like 100 of them, and I can't freaking keep up at all. I just can't. It's freaking mind-boggling. That was the Five Nights at Freddy's game theory, the newest installment to the series. I thought we were done, but we're not. Titled FNAF: The Secret Crimes of 1985. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I want to hear your thoughts on all of this, and if you agree with me, if we're gonna have some like going back in time action, that'd be freaking awesome. Everything will be linked in the description down below so you can check everything out for yourself, along with the Game Theorists channel. Also, check out the Couchmaster Psycon video where I played Five Nights at Freddy's 4 in bed, and also congratulations to the winner of the Couchmaster. Make sure you go into Discord and you message me, okay? So we can get you your own. Like it if you enjoyed, subscribe to my videos, and I'll see you in the next one. So bye!